Greetings, future Cougars. I'm Mrs. Softstrand. I'm the principal at Curtis Junior High, and I am here today to talk to you about the registration process for your 8th grade classes. Our presentation format today will include me talking about some general school information, and then some students will join me to talk about student life and ways you can get involved at Curtis Junior High. And then our fantastic counselors will tell you how you will go about picking your classes for next year. Here's some information you need to know. Beginning on March 19th, you will get some registration presentations through your Washington State history classes. And that will provide all the information you need to complete the process accurately and in a timely manner so that we can get things rolling for next year. The week of March 22nd, you are going to complete your course selection. So those will be Google Forms. Your teachers and your counselors will help you select those classes using the right forms. And then on March 29th, the counselors from Drum and Narrowsview will follow up in case you have not been able to complete the process to make sure you can do that. At Curtis Junior High, our primary goals are that we have a safe school environment, and that is safe both physically and emotionally. We want to make sure every student and staff member feels safe and welcome in our school, and we do lots of work teaching students how to interact with one another and communicating that so that everyone can have a good experience at the junior high. We also focus on providing students with strong academic skills. You who are at Drum and Narrowsview know that we want you to be ready for what lies down the road. And for us at the junior high, we start to think about the diploma, graduation from high school, as well as college and career readiness. We also want you to be healthy, fit individuals and find contributing students who have the opportunity to participate in some service and leadership activities. So at Curtis Junior High, we have a Cougar Code, and the Cougar Code is kind of like the 3 Bs at the intermediate schools. I think that most of you know about be safe, be respectful, be responsible. And if you notice, the first 3 characteristics in the Cougar Code are the same: safety, respect, and responsibility. Also at the junior high, we add cooperation because there's a lot of students coming together. And so we need to cooperate with one another, and excellence. As we look at junior high, high school, and beyond, it's important that you work to be your most excellent self while you allow others to be their most excellent selves. And so we add these extra words onto safety, respect, and responsibility. These things guide all of our interactions at school, and they also frame our rules. So you don't have to remember a whole bunch of rules if you are behaving in a manner that's safe, respectful, responsible, you're cooperating, and you're working toward excellence. You're probably interacting with others and behaving in exactly the way we want at Curtis Junior High. So just so you know, I want to talk about a few things that maybe are different from the intermediate school. So at Curtis Junior High School, we have almost 900 students, and they're split evenly between 8th and 9th grade, about 450 at each grade level. And our students come to us from Drum and Narrowsview, but they also come from neighboring districts, and some students come from private schools but live in our district already. There are lots of new students at Curtis Junior High School. Every year, over half of our students are new to the school each year. So all of our 8th graders and some of our 9th graders. And that means that we need to teach students how things work at the junior high because you're here for a short time. We want you to know right off the bat how things work. And we really work hard to make sure that there are clear expectations. And so you know how processes work. And so that's something you can expect when you come to the junior high, is people providing you with clear instructions on how we work. So let's start. I want to make you aware of what a typical day at Curtis Junior High looks like. And when I talk about these things, I'm speaking about what we've done in the past. This year, we've made some shifts, right? And so we've had online instruction, and now we're moving back into hybrid instruction, and the day looks a little bit different. But I am hopeful that we can return to a more normal situation down the road. And so I am going to speak to that right now. Our typical day. If we end up having to make some adjustments to this, we will clearly communicate that throughout the summer prior to the start of next year. But on a typical day, students arrive at the junior high between 7 and 7:15 in the morning. That is different from intermediate school. It's early. The first bell is at 7:20 and the first class is at 7:30. So there's 10 minutes to kind of get ready and get moving to your classes, and first period starts at 7:30 in the morning. We have 6 55-minute classes and 5 minutes of passing between every class. So students move from class to class throughout the day. 6 different teachers, 6 different classes. We have 2 lunches, and those are a blend of 8th and 9th graders in the lunches. Our school day ends at 2 o'clock. And the campus closes at 2:10. And when I say the campus closes, that means that if you are not involved in a school activity, you need to be off of our campus. But we do have lots of after-school activities. So I'm going to talk about a few of those, and the students will also talk with you about more of those. One other thing that I wanted to mention that is different at the junior high than it is at the intermediate school is students have lockers. This year we aren't using them, but we do hope that students will, when they come back on campus, be able to use those. So our lockers, there are different kinds. You can see 2 pictures in this slide. One is our hallway or academic lockers, and that's where students store backpacks and books when they're not using them. And the others down below are their PE lockers. And so those are 2 different places. Some students might have instrument lockers. And so those are near our music rooms. And each of those lockers is assigned to one unique student. So students have combination locks and they need to learn those combinations. We give them time to practice in the first part of the school year. I'll talk about Cougar Days at the end of this presentation. And you should not ever share that information with somebody else. It is the place where you can keep your material safe and kind of a holding area throughout the day. So I did want to talk about, as I mentioned, one of our after-school opportunities. We do have after-school academic help. And there are kind of 2 different versions of that. One is with teachers, and that's actually at the bottom of this page. We always recommend that if a student is struggling or they have questions about the content or an assignment, that they work to access their teacher first. And teachers are often available after school, and they'll post their information when they're available, and students can just drop in and ask for help. There are some times when teachers will say, please make an appointment because I might have a meeting. And so they want you to know that they're going to be there when you show up for help. So that is an option, to talk with your teachers and go in after school to get help in their classroom. Sometimes we have teachers who have other obligations after school. Like I said, they might have a meeting. Some of them are coaches, or they're moving on to other activities. And so we have a study club option, and we have offered study club 3 days a week. It is a place where students can do homework. They can get help because we have certificated teachers helping. Traditionally, it's been in our library, and that would be help with classes like English and social studies. And then we have math specific help. If you're in pre-algebra, you can go to the pre-algebra study club, or algebra in the algebra study club room. And there's also access to technology if you need it. So those 2 options are really great things, just even when you're getting the hang of junior high, just to spend a little bit more time after school getting some help. I am going to now hand this presentation over to some of our students and our counselors, and I will see you at the conclusion of this presentation. Thank you very much.
Hey everyone, my name is Sarah Faltamo. I'm in 9th grade and I went to drum, and I'm going to be talking to you guys about some different ways you can get involved at Curtis Junior High next year. These activities will happen after school and are amazing ways to make new friends and find new interests. A great way to get involved is by joining clubs. A club that you can join is the Black Student Union. When I first joined the BSU, I just thought it would be a fun after-school activity, and now I'm the president of it, and I've made so many new friends and gained confidence and talking skills. I can talk to strangers now, and I used to be so shy. And if I never would have joined, I actually wouldn't be talking to you right now. Black Student Union is a safe space to talk about your issues and questions you might have regarding race. We also talk about things going on in modern Black culture, It's open to all ethnicities, and it's a great way to educate yourself as an ally. Another club that you can join is Prevention Team. They promote drug-free messages by supporting their school to make positive choices. And I actually did Prevention Team in 8th grade, and it was so fun. We got to make crafts and miss class, so I definitely recommend that to you guys. The next club that you can join, I'm sure a lot of you will be excited for, Anime Club. They share their passion for anime and Japanese pop culture. Another club you can join is Art Club. It's a safe space to create. You can join other artists and share ideas, techniques, and laughs. This next club you can join is the Genders and Sexualities Alliance. The GSA provides a safe space for students to meet, support each other, talk about issues related to sexual orientation and gender identity and expression, and work to end homophobia and transphobia. Another fun club to join is the Dungeons and Dragons Club. Are you interested in working with like-minded individuals to save the world from evil? Then you should definitely join the D&D Club. Another club you can join is the MESA Club. They use mathematics, engineering, and science to solve problems and develop new things. You can also join the Musical Theater Club or the Builders Club. As Mrs. Hofstrand stated earlier, we also have after-school study club and tutoring for students. Last year, I really needed after-school algebra help, and literally it helped me so much. I got really good grades, so never be embarrassed, okay? You do you. Never be embarrassed to get help. Another great way to get involved is by playing a sport. Curtis Junior High offers baseball, fast pitch, track, boys basketball, girls basketball, volleyball, and tennis. And 8th grade football, tennis, and track and wrestling are no-cut sports, which means everyone that wants to play can, and there's no tryouts. Practices are after school every day of the week, and there is an activity bus that takes students who normally ride the bus home. For the games and matches, students typically get to travel to different schools, which is really fun. There is athletic paperwork that needs to be completed before you can participate, which can be found on the Curtis Junior High website. Getting involved in school has given me so many opportunities and helped me make a lot of friends, and I hope you all can try it and put yourself out there. And now I'm going to be passing it on to Miss Artiaga, who is going to talk to you more about your schedule for next year. Bye, guys.
Hi, future Cougars. I am Mrs. Artiaga, and I am one of your school counselors at the junior high. We are super excited to have you at the junior high next year. And as you can see, Mrs. Waverly is the other school counselor here. We, like your counselors, divide our students by the first letter of their last name. I work with students with the last names A through K, and Mrs. Waverly works with students with the last names L through Z. We do a lot of the same things that your counselors do now, including scheduling. And so that's one of the reasons why we're here today, to help you get registered for your classes for next year. As Mrs. Hofstrand mentioned earlier, all students are going to have 6 classes or 6 periods each day. For 8th graders, 5 of these classes are required classes, meaning you have to take these classes. The required classes for 8th graders are English, U.S. History, Earth Science, Math, and Physical Education, or PE. I wanted to talk a little briefly about mathematics. We work really closely with your current math teachers so that we can make sure that you're placed correctly next year in 8th grade, so don't worry about that. I also wanted to touch on physical education, or your PE class, because it's a little bit different than a traditional PE class down at the intermediate schools. You'll notice from the slide that there are 3 quarters of wellness, and that's going to be the majority of your year. You're going to be in your PE class. There is 1 quarter of swim that is required for 8th graders, and during that time period, students travel up to the pool And that's where they have their swim class for those 9 weeks. The other difference between the intermediate school PE classes and the junior high classes, students typically dress down or change their clothes. In a traditional year, they change their clothes before they participate in their activity. And I like to let students know that there is time built in to that class period at the beginning and the end so that students have time to do so. So don't worry about that. You'll notice your 6th class is your elective class, and that's the class that you get to pick, you get to choose. Mrs. Waverly is going to talk with you in a little bit about what your options are for your elective class for 8th grade. Okay, so the registration process this year is a bit different than normal circumstances or how we usually do things. Usually we come down and we have paper forms that students fill out in order to register for their classes. This year we are going to have students register for their elective through a Google form. So each student is going to complete a Google form through their Washington State history classroom, and your counselors are going to lead you through that process to pick your elective. And I just wanted to remind you that you will be automatically enrolled in your required classes. So we are going to take care of English, U.S. history, earth science, math, and PE. You will be selecting your elective and your swim level. And I also wanted to mention about applying for honors, as that process is a little bit different this year also. We do have honors classes that we offer for 8th graders to take, and we encourage students who are interested in participating to apply, regardless of whether you have participated in an honors course or challenge course in the past. We offer 3 honors classes. We offer Honors English 8, Honors U.S. History 8, and Honors Earth Science 8. And these classes are challenging for sure. And we want students to choose honors if they have a high interest in that subject area. You should expect to complete more challenging, more rigorous work, including more projects, independent reading and writing assignments, and also more rigorous assessments or tests. Expect to complete those as well. Multiple factors should be considered when you're selecting honors classes, but really the best predictor is your past performance in a subject area. And we encourage students, if you're not sure if you should apply, talk to your teacher in that subject area and get their input as well. Again, you can choose 1, 2, or all 3, but that can be a good guidance. Your teachers can help guide you in the right direction. The application process is also a little bit different, as it's also going to be completed by a Google form. And so that link to the Honors 8 application Google form is going to be posted Monday, March 22nd in a student's Washington State History Google Classroom. And so again, you can choose to apply for honors in 1, 2, or all 3 classes. And then we do our best to notify students of their placement by June 1st of this year. So before you end your school year, you should have a notification from us letting us know if you are in honors or not. And that is it for my part. Now I'm going to turn it over to my friend and colleague, Mrs. Waverly. She is going to talk with you about the 8th grade swim survey and your elective course selection. Thanks, guys. Have a great year.
Good morning, 7th graders. My name is Mrs. Waverly, and I am the counselor for students with the last names L through Z. And I'm going to talk to you about just a couple pieces of information that we're going to need for you to think about so that you're ready when your counselors come in next week to get you registered for 8th grade. So the first piece of information is that everybody, as you know, everyone will take a quarter of swim in 8th grade. And so the first thing we need to know is what swim level you feel like you are. So we have level 1 through 4, and I'm going to go over those. So a level 1 is you feel pretty good in the water. So maybe you have extensive swim experience. You may have participated on a competitive swim team, maybe formal lessons, and maybe know 3 or 4 of the competitive swim strokes. So if that sounds like next week you would choose level 1. A level 2 is that you feel pretty comfortable in the water. Maybe not a swim team, but you've had some or a lot of experience in the water. You can swim the cross stroke 50 yards kind of down the pool and back without stopping to rest. So if that sounds like you would circle level 2. If swim level 3 is you feel pretty comfortable in the water, you feel comfortable putting your head underwater, you can float on your back for 5 or more seconds, you can lay on your back and kick one length down the pool. If that sounds like you, on your Google form, you're going to choose level 3. And level 4 is maybe you don't feel super comfortable in the water, or you've had little to no swim experience, or you're kind of scared of the water. And if that's you, that's okay. We have a level for you, and you would just choose level 4. And the nice thing is we have some fabulous teachers at the high school, as you know. You've probably met them, but they are great with working with students that don't feel comfortable in the water either. And they do their best just to kind of baby steps until you are comfortable. So the first thing when your counselors come back and help you fill out your registration is going to be picking your swim level. So think about whether you are 1, 2, 3, or 4. You can ask your parents, and they can help you kind of determine that too. The next thing that you're going to pick on your Google form is, as you know, you will take 6 classes, and one of those classes is an elective that you get to choose to take. So your options for 8th grade are either a performing art or the expo. So you will either pick band, orchestra, choir, or expo. And so we have Cougar Band, String Orchestra, and Cougar Choir for your performing art options. Those are classes that you can just choose to take. And even if you didn't take a performing arts course this year, we would still encourage you to take your performing art class starting again in 8th grade. Most of you have had some experience, and that's okay. If you skipped this year, we can plunk you right back into your performing art class. For those of you that maybe you've never done a performing arts, that's okay too. You can choose that. You might just want to let us know that you have had no experience, and that way our performing art teacher can reach out to you and chat with you or your folks before you start that class. So the other ones, you'll see this audition for symphonic band, jazz band, concert orchestra, and full orchestra. So these are a higher level performing art class, and 8th graders can take those. Those are just audition only. And so if you're in a current music class, you can reach out to your teacher about the audition process for those. If you're not in a performing arts class, there's going to be a video that we're going to show you at the end of our presentation that will give you a little bit more information about the performing arts and how to audition if you are in or are not in the performing arts class currently. So again, we encourage all students to take a performing art class their 8th grade year and throughout high school. You do need 2 credits of refiner performing art for graduation, and so that is a great time to get started. If for some reason performing arts is not the class for you, the other option is what's called Exploratory 8. And what this is a semester of technology and a semester of visual arts in some sort of order. And so in visual arts, students, you learn about artistic genres, concepts, and techniques, and then you apply your knowledge and skills to create and analyze different types of artwork. And then in Gateway to Technology, students will learn about the design process and will apply their learning as they work as a part of a team to design and build different projects. So that would be the Exploratory 8. So your your counselors are going to come back into your Washington State history class next week, and they are going to help walk you through filling out your Google form registration for 8th grade. So what we'll need from you is for you to talk with your parent or guardian this weekend about what elective option you're going to choose for 8th grade. And we ask that you choose this wisely, because typically once you choose that, we can't switch you after you've made that choice. So you're going to be in class and you're going to see a little Google form that looks just like this, and then it's going to ask you for your preferred elective, and you're going to pick band, orchestra, choir, or expo. If you picked band or orchestra, it will ask you what instrument. And then if you pick choir or expo, it will ask you if for some reason we can't get you into this class, what other music, like what other class would you want to take, and what instrument maybe you've had experience in. So that is what the Google form is going to look like that you're going to do with your counselor in your Washington State history class. So just a few quick reminders. You are going to complete your course selection form and your honors application next week with your current counselor in your Washington State history class. So it's really important that you make sure you show up, because they are actually going to walk you through the process of filling out that form, and you're going to do it together. And then once you've done that, you are all good to go for 8th grade. So no other, nothing else is needed after that, and you'll be all good to go. And then once you finish your 7th grade year, you're going to work hard through your 7th grade year. And once you're done, you'll be officially be a Curtis Cougar. So I am now going to turn it over to Mrs. Hofstrand. That is going to finish up our presentation, which is kind of what your next steps are. So finish strong. Hope you guys have a great rest of your year, and I look forward to meeting you all in the fall.
Thank you all very much for that helpful information. That was great. I am going to talk about next steps just to conclude this presentation. So what's next? Please call or email us with questions. You can call the school, the junior high, if you have questions specific to courses or offerings or opportunities here. You can also call the intermediate school if you have questions pertaining to completion of the forms. Use our Curtis Junior High website. I'll show you the address in just a minute, but that is a great place to start if you have general questions about the school. We will also post this slideshow on that website without me talking through it if you just want to flip through the slides. Parents and guardians, please remind your students to complete those course selection Google forms. That will be very helpful if we get that done in the time frame that we have discussed. And then attend Cougar Days, and I will talk about that in just a minute. So communication between school and home, I said, give us a call or check our website or email us. We use that website, cjh.upsd83.org, for a variety of communications. So activities, there's a calendar, there are forms that you can use, there is just a ton of information. So we encourage you to use that as a first look when you're wondering what's happening at Curtis Junior High. Family Access, or Skyward, you are probably familiar with that already. That is our online student records system. At the junior high, that's the primary way we communicate about student progress through the online grades. We also use that for attendance, and I use it to send emails, and teachers use that to send emails and progress reports periodically. We also use the school messenger system. That's that auto dial. Sometimes you get a phone call about a real important date or event. I will send periodic newsletters and sometimes actual things in the mail, including report cards and progress reports. So that's another way that we communicate about grades. Those happen 4 times a year. So our years are divided into 2 semesters, and each of those semesters at the junior high and high school are divided in half. So students get grades about every 9 weeks, and those are mailed home in addition to being posted in Skyward. We do hold parent-teacher conferences when requested. Those are done through our counselors. And if there is a broad concern and you've communicated with teachers and have questions, that's a great way to get at that, is just scheduling a meeting to talk more with several teachers. So counselors can help with those. And then when we're back to an in-person environment, we have events, a great deal of events on our campus in the afternoons and evenings. One particularly I like to point out is arena conferences. We do right after the end of the first quarter so that parents can get a good read on how their students are doing after that first quarter, and all of the teachers are available to meet with students. So again, please do not hesitate to call or email us at the junior high. We want to hear from you, and we'll be happy to help answer your questions. I mentioned Cougar Days on the last slide, and Cougar Days are a chance for us to get prepared for the school year before school actually starts. And so I am going to ask that you save these dates, August 18th and or 19th. We will send out information in early August about when we would like you to come. You are welcome on either of those days, but we do try and suggest times just to spread folks out a bit. And so the purpose of Cougar Days is kind of twofold. We get some things that we need to have done. So we ask that you, as parents and guardians, update your students' contact information and some other important information in Skyward. And you have the option to make some purchases and just see kind of what's up at the school. And you can also get pictures taken. We do our school pictures. We try and get the bulk of those done before the school year starts. And so those are our official picture days during Cougar Days. We do makeup days and retake days once the school year gets started. But once we get those things done from you, the reward is the students get an unofficial schedule. And if we are able to have students in the school, they can take a tour and look and see where their classes are. They can try out their lockers. This past year, we did this as a drive-through, and so we didn't have that opportunity. We, again, are hopeful that we will be able to have students on our campus this fall. So August 18th and 19th, one of those dates, we are going to ask that you come, or at least your student is able to come. And then I also wanted to mention one of the ways that we get our 8th grade students familiar with the school is our orientation. And this is always the first day of school. And we dedicate that day to helping students understand how we do things at Curtis Junior High. So traditionally, our orientation has been led by student ambassadors and teachers together, and they complete activities in their classes and they learn what it means to be a Cougar. We've had guest speakers, we have tours, we have activities that allow students to get to know some of those new classmates. And it's just a good day to kind of get a feel for the school and your schedule. You don't have to worry about class content. So that's something good for our new 8th grade students to know, that on the first day of school, you will go through your schedule, but you won't necessarily be doing the class content. You will be learning about the school and how it works. Thank you very much for listening to this whole presentation. I appreciate your time, and we look forward to having you at Curtis Junior High. Keep up the great work this spring, and we will see you in August.